Hello and welcome once again to another day in the life of Damn Grinder. Damn Grinder obviously being me, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about money on the internet. Also, I have prepared, or I'm actually preparing, a little scripted sort of like series of episodes where I'm going to be sort of like talking about voice acting and kind of like giving my idea of it, my opinion of it, my experience with it so far, and I don't know if maybe it will help somebody, maybe it will motivate somebody to kind of do it as well, something like that. All right, but hope you guys enjoy that one, and let's go on to today's topic. So, money on the internet. What exactly do I mean by money on the internet? Because obviously there's plenty of ways of making money on the internet. One of them being working, like regular work. So basically, you're either a promoter who, earns their money by promoting something, going to social networking and getting clients or getting audiences or something like that. For example, when I used to have the radio, I had a lot of promotion agencies, or whatever you want to call them, promotion people, something like that. But I used to have a bunch of people who were involved in promotion of the bands that were their clients. So basically what they would do is they would have a list of available downloads that were representative of these bands that were supposed to be sent to me and other radio stations and magazines and whatnot for reviews, airplay, all of that stuff. So that's one way of making money on the internet. Other ways are, promotion through social media of brands, kind of like exactly the same thing as it is with bands and whatnot, but it's more corporate and it's more sort of like professional, I would say. So, like through marketing and all that stuff. And then you have other ways, like, for example, voice acting is one of those where you can work from home if you are lucky enough to get your gigs to do home, and then you basically just use the internet to send the files over and you get paid that way. Now, obviously, I don't want to really talk about those because I'm not corporate enough. I don't really have any experience with those, and honestly, I'm so fresh with the voice acting business and this world of voice acting that I don't really get any money just yet. I'm just doing things and I'm hoping to make it a career eventually at some point, because I would love to be doing this for a life opportunity, a life or a career, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about, and sort of like criticize, but not on a negative manner, but criticize a little bit about the money that some people make through content creation. And content creation has to be said a little bit lively, because I believe some people actually do or take a lot of effort to create these very entertaining videos. Others don't really care. But because the attention span of the younger generations have, devolved so much, and basically because there is so many people nowadays that are entertained with so little, a lot of people are making money in a very unfair way. So, for example, right, I have basically taught myself how to produce, edit, record, and basically have a voice file ready for sale for a client to use, whether it's television, whether it's radio, whether it's the internet, whatever you call it. This is not my voice acting quality. This is a USB microphone that I bought just for convenience for recording these podcasts, recording, videos, or doing live streams or something like that. That's the main goal for this microphone that I'm using right now. Is it bad quality? Absolutely not. But it's not anything to be compared with my €100 USB, or not USB, but my €100 XLR microphone that I bought for voice acting. And this one is a USB mic that, again, it's just for convenience, because it's plug and play. You just go on Windows, you get the settings ready, and that's pretty much it. With the XLR, you need a preamp, blah, 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 yada, yada. So, yeah, it's a lot easier with this one. But for my voice acting, I take a lot of pride in the work that I do and the quality that I put into it. However, there's a lot of people nowadays that don't put any effort into anything they do, and yet they get paid thousands of dollars, euros, whatever currency their country has, and they are not doing anything. They're just there in front of a camera. Let's talk about, for example, the women that are sitting in front of a camera for like 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever, for how long they decide to stream. They don't do anything other than perhaps look good. And that's literally what they do. Is that enough? Should that be enough for them to make such a large amount of money? I don't think so, because that's kind of unfair. I mean, you could argue, well, but they have to go to the gym, or they have to exercise, or they have to do something for them to look that good that people would pay them money. Not really. Let's be real here. Not really. I mean, you have some of them that are not necessarily like fit, athletic, or anything like that, and they get paid money anyways. You know why? Because there's people with kinks and fetishes for any types of bodies, whether it's women or men, it doesn't really matter. But there's those types of fetishes. People really like, sometimes you have people with really weird obsessions for like fat women. And then there's nothing wrong with fat women. I'm not by any means saying that. But, they will pay money to them for them to be acknowledged or something. But I feel like I'm kind of like drifting away from what I really wanted to talk about. It's not even the women or anything like that. Even though those kind of bother me because they literally put no effort whatsoever. A lot of them don't put any effort into their streams. And there they are, making thousands of bucks each month. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this whole idea and this whole, sort of like thing that happens with streaming nowadays and YouTube and whatnot, which is the donations, okay? Now, I understand for a YouTuber who might have some sort of like very underground content. By underground, I mean whether it's something that's not necessarily mainstream, so maybe they are in a niche or some sort of like underground form of music or creativity or art or whatever, and maybe they don't really get their videos on YouTube monetized as they probably would want to. Or as like, for example, a few years ago, before the whole adpocalypse appeared, people would be monetizing their videos a lot better. Nowadays, it's kind of like a stretch, and you kind of have to take into consideration a lot of rules. So for these people, I understand the whole usage of Patreon. Now, for example, for people who live stream, I think Patreon is a little bit abusive, and I'm talking about people who are making a good living just off of the subscribers. Because you have to consider one thing. On Twitch, for example, people with 1,000 subscribers have a very, very good life already. Now, of course, that depends on where they are from, but if, like, for example, if you are from Portugal with 1,000 subscribers, you are making a lot more money than an engineer who actually had to go through a lot of education, through a lot of steps in their lives to get to that role. Or maybe they just had a cousin or an uncle or whatever and got them there. But the point is, if they are honest, legitimate people, they went through a lot of steps in their lives to get to that rank. These people, not necessarily. Some of them just dropped out of school and they started streaming. Are they interesting? Who knows? That's kind of a relevancy thing, or not relevancy, but relative thing, because maybe whoever is interesting to you is not really interesting to me. Although I think that it's okay to subscribe to them. If you enjoy their content, if you think their content is good, sure, subscribe to them. It's the direct way of supporting them. But I just think it's weird how much money is thrown into these people, into these streamers. Like, we're talking about people who are not only making thousands upon thousands of dollars each month on account of their subscribers, but also making thousands upon thousands of dollars each day on account of the donations. Now, there are different forms of donations. There's the streamers that get donations because of their sort of like toxic type of stream, or people want to say shit to them, they want to complain, or they want to just overall be, incredibly stupid against the streamers. And then you have those streamers who are legitimately good, and they just want to have, people just want to say good things to them and nice things to them. And oh my God, I love you so much. You're the greatest streamer ever. You're my favorite streamer. I love you. I love you. I love you. There's these kinds of donations. Now, here's the thing. I would be okay with donations like $2, $5. I would be absolutely okay with that. I mean, you want to be paid attention to, and you want to pay $5 for that. That's all right. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Absolutely okay with that. But for someone to drop like $200 onto a guy that is already making thousands of bucks each month is just ludicrous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There are people who have nothing, and these guys have more than they need. You know what I mean? And there's a difference between living well, which they already do with the subscriptions alone, and living to like unnecessary portions of cash that you receive every single day. Like, it's ridiculous. Every time I find these big ass streamers with like 200 and 500 bucks donated, it's like, what the hell is going on here? Why are you donating this amount of money? And every time I talked about this, people were like, well, but it's their money. Why are you complaining about that? It's not your money. They do whatever the hell they want with their money. I completely agree with you. They do whatever they want with their money. But why am I on the wrong, or why should I be sort of like intervened, or what? I don't even know if that's right, but why should people sort of like intervene in my attempt to sort of like sensitize these individuals to not spend their money in this way? Perhaps you could be helping someone who actually needs it, and you could actually be helping someone's lives. You're not helping anybody's lives by dropping $200 to a dude that doesn't need it. They obviously will thank you for it. They obviously will be like, oh my God, $200, no way, dude, thank you so much, you're crazy, you're amazing. But honestly, they don't care that much. By the next day, they do not even remember you. And that's where my point is. You could actually be helping somebody who needs that money. That money would be like tremendously good for them, and they would remember you for the rest of their lives. And that is where you would make the difference. But no, you choose to drop this money to the big guy. What is the reason though? Is that an investment? Are you dropping a product and you drop that money for them to acknowledge you and possibly be a way of advertising? I mean, if that's the case, then sure. It's a way of marketing, it's a way of, advertising your product. But if that's not the case and you're just blindly dropping that cash, I don't understand it, and I do not agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a waste, honestly. And even the streamers sometimes say that it's a waste, because the streamers themselves know that I'm sure there's people out there that will have those donations possibilities for them to get like thousands of bucks. I'm sure of that. But I think most of the people that I watch are legitimately cool dudes, and they have that just for people to sort of like drop a message by, throwing at them like $3 or $5 and, hey, I love you, or hey, dude, do it this way or whatever, for helping with a game or for helping with tech stuff or something like that. I believe that they have that option there for that for that sole reason. But for those that do this on a very greedy way, I despise those people, because you don't need that type of money. You already make more than enough for you to live a very wealthy, good life. So stop being greedy. And for the people that donate, this is mostly for the people that donate to those guys. Stop donating so much money to them. Imagine if you just donated $5 every day. Wouldn't that be great? At the end of the month, you could have still $200 donated, but it's $5 a day. You know what I mean? I think that would be great. I don't know if I'm obviously like $5 a day, probably not going to be $200 by the end of the month. But my point is, maybe just sort of like split it up rather than just going like boom, $200. What are you trying to show? You're trying to show that you're rich. You're trying to fucking go with a dick sword fight or whatever it's called. Like, come on, man. Are you trying to measure who's got the biggest dick by throwing crazy amounts of money onto something? Wow, dude, that guy just donated $1,000 to this streamer, man. He must be rich. Wow. And the people that cheer for this, you are even more stupid than whoever donates this stuff. All right? Now, for smaller streamers that have no other ways of investing in their streams and stuff like that, but they are entertaining. Listen, here's the thing. Not everybody can be a streamer. Not everybody can be an entertainer. Not everybody can be an interviewer. Not everybody can be a voice actor. Not everybody can be this, that, or that. Not everybody can be a construction worker. Not everybody can be an electrician. Okay? So listen, if you can't make it streaming, just understand one thing. It's okay. All right? It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can't be everything, or you can't be some things. All right? Some things are just not for you. The way your life developed, the way you got to a certain point in your life, that is going to make you interesting or not. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be good for streaming. Maybe you are very good at games. Maybe you're not very good at games, but you have an interesting personality. Maybe you don't have either. So if you don't have either, I would suggest don't even start streaming. Or maybe you do, maybe you get it. Eventually with time. Who knows? My point is, these smaller streamers are the ones who perhaps deserve these donations. And those bigger streamers, man, they already have enough cash by the subscriptions, man. Stop dropping these crazy amounts of money. But again, listen, what do I know? All right? What do I know? I'm just a guy who thinks that's ridiculous, okay? It's your money, you do whatever you want with your money, I understand that. But it's kind of like, I just want to sensitize these people, or I think that's how you say it. Whatever. It's not my first language. English is not my first language, okay? So bear with me on this, all right? Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. And again, remember, drop the cash to someone that needs it, a charity or something. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna feel so much better for you, rather than just like dropping $200 to some dude that tomorrow doesn't even remember you. These charities will remember you probably for the rest of their lives or whatever. Don't take my word for that. But point is, you will be helping someone who might need it, rather than just feeding someone's ego. All right? Thank you guys very much for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.